My guest today is driven by a sense of creativity that's both multifaceted and multicultural. I first met Hannah Bain over a decade ago when I hired her as an illustrator for a project of mine as she was travelling through India. And over the years, her creative path and continued evolution has produced a freelance career dominated by one word: joy. She is now a sought-after wedding photographer, capturing one of the most cherished moments in a couple's life together. She talks to me about her journey, what inspires her, and why the concept of freedom is so pervasive in her own life and career. I'm Shib Matthew, and for the past 20 years, I've championed the freelancer economy. The company I founded in 2012 became the UK's largest platform for premium freelance talent and reached over $2 billion in freelancer bookings. Now I'm on a journey to discover why people all over the world are liberating themselves as independent professionals in pursuit of excellence in their craft and freedom in their lives. These are the stories from the freelance revolution. This is Freedom Unscripted with Hannah Bain.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
So good to see you.
Come in.
Who's this?
This is Edith.
Ah, hello, Edith.
Do you want to come in?
Oh, I love this wreath.
You just get the door.
Yeah.
Thank you. Should we move these off the table?
Yeah.
Do you want one, by the way?
Yeah. I love a good advent calendar. This is the 15th, yeah.
That was Edith's one. The dogs.
This is the doggy.
There's a doggy. Sorry.
I really should have read Happy Woofmas. It's not too bad, actually.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to give her one now.
Edith, hello. You and me, we're on the same diet.
You have good hair like her.
Yeah, that's good.
Although you've got a good head of hair.
It's my head suit. It's my head suit, Hannah. The very first time we had any interaction was you were doing some illustrations for me.
That was like 12 years ago?
Yeah.
I got into freelancing by accident, pretty much. I was in a job as a designer, working in an advertising agency, and then I put in my request for a holiday, and it was 2.5 weeks, and they pulled me to the side and said, "We can't give you that."
No go on the 2.5 weeks.
And I booked the holiday already. So yeah, I said, oh, actually I'm going travelling now and not just going on holiday, and then handed in my notice too soon.
Right.
So I still had 2 months left before I had to go away.
So there was a gap.
Oh no, I need money still because I'm going travelling.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Freelancing, especially then, really suited the way I wanted to live my life. I didn't like it when I was told you have to work.
You're just a born free spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
My thinking was I didn't want to be working for big companies anymore.
Yeah.
And how do I become the company, or how do I become how do I work with smaller businesses? You have more creative freedom when you work with a smaller business because you're working with the owner of the company, you're working with the founder, you're working with someone who's got the passion for what they're doing.
These aren't just props.
No.
These cameras. Because one of them has a very particular significance to you, right?
Yeah. But it's probably about 200 years old, or 175, I'm going to say, I think.
Eastman Kodak Company.
Yeah. One of the first compactable cameras.
This is your great-grandmother using this very camera.
Yeah, so she's holding it in the picture.
That is amazing.
And probably someone taking her picture with that camera too. Photography is not cheap.
I know that.
Yeah, I mean, you've bought a new camera recently, haven't you? So
yeah, I know that so well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's why you cherish it so much.
I never meant to do photography professionally.
Right.
It was always a very, I'd say I like travel photography, and it was my way of documenting where I was traveling I really liked, and it was a hobby of mine. 2020, 3 weddings booked, and then obviously they all got cancelled because no one could have a wedding in 2020.
Yeah.
Then I got pregnant, which again was like a miracle kind of in itself. Then the weddings came back and I had a little 5-month-old baby. And I was like, oh, I'd already committed to doing their wedding, so I should do the wedding. I did it, and I was like, I get to use my camera again. And because of all my freelance experience I'd been doing, I knew how to set up a little business, how to kind of market myself. Everything I'd done before was all led up to building this. I didn't know at the time, but, building technically a photography business. And actually becoming a mother made me into a freelance photographer, because suddenly I was like, I haven't got all this time to do this hobby, because it's sort of like, it was a luxury to like sit down and do editing and take this big camera out, and like, but suddenly I was like, I've got a baby, I can't take this camera out and the baby at the same time.
One of the things that you and I have talked about in the past is balancing parenthood and career. How does that work as a freelancer, where you're wrestling both career, running your own business, you're an entrepreneur of one, as well as being a parent?
I mean, there's no script for it.
Yeah.
It's like, and to be honest, I was really worried about like starting a family and how I'd do it, and to the point where actually I took a break from freelancing. That was actually the beauty of photography and doing this wedding, and kind of doing that was like, it reignited my wanting to kind of do freelance again. Like, and that was something I never thought I would feel with a 5-month-old. And what it gave me was like this time where it's like I don't know, anyone who has children, it's like, it's suddenly everything's about you. And then you have a child and it's like, I'm really down there on a pecking order now here. It's like, it's all about this child.
All right, so your own personal
preferences, whatever passions or whatever
passions,
you're doing.
Yeah.
And actually doing this photography was like, it's about me again. And it's like, this is something that I love, and like, I didn't feel like, it felt like right doing it, and it was like this technique, like, I think would help me be a better parent, because it's like, this is my passion, and then I come back feeling happy doing it.
How does a free spirit like yourself, who has now been a freelancer for a very long time, then connect with someone that is almost the opposite of that? How do you find the balance in that relationship?
Another thing, so he works in finance, I'm a very creative person. Like, for me, it works better not being with another creative person.
Right, yeah.
Mainly because, and this is probably something I've got to work on myself, it's like, I can get jealous or get sort of like your work's really good, and I needed to be with someone who like thought I was amazing at what I did.
Of course. So, yeah. We all need that, absolutely.
I needed a sort of like my own cheerleader.
So when you were freelancing in Goa, aside from Goa being the most idyllic place to be a freelancer, you were working with Swedes, Indians, Australians, Brits. Did they all see freelancing the same?
I'd say they all kind of came there for the same reason I did. They didn't want a full-time job. They wanted to kind of be away from where they were and live a kind of different lifestyle. I think we knew that there was sort of this market of people starting their own businesses and not having the resources there to put it together. So,
absolutely.
Again, living in Goa was more cost-effective than, say, living in London.
Right.
So your outgoings weren't as huge, so you could kind of do things a bit more affordably. And one of the things we did as a selling point was come out and do work for 2 weeks with us. And then
I was so tempted to do that. Oh, this is good.
Backdrop, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where do you get your creative inspiration for your photography?
I've connected with more photographers at this photography festival that I went to, and yeah, it's like through them, I actually get a lot of inspiration from their photos and see how they do things. And then like there's this one who was giving me a tip every week of doing self-portrait. And so I've been bringing that into now looking more creatively in my family photography and like how I can take pictures of my son. So it's just from everything. And like even watching films and watching documentaries, you just look at how shots are done, how they've done the colouring, how they've done the lighting.
At the start of this episode, I talked about the sense of joy Hannah brings to her freelance career. She pursued a freelance life for very specific reasons around freedom and family. She knew that it wasn't going to be easy, but for her, the payoff was so worth the undertaking, it drove all of her decisions. And the byproduct of that pursuit of joy reveals itself in her work that has resulted in a waitlist that, well, let's put it this way. If you're thinking of proposing to your significant other, it's probably worth making the next call to Hannah and checking her availability for your special day.
And then look kind of like sort of down to your right.
I'm Shib Matthew. Thanks for watching another episode of Freedom Unscripted.